I suppose you've heard my voice enough to know who this is, so let me show you what I did here. And I don't know what happened here, but this right here was my whole field for a program. It got blown out somehow. You know, who knows, maybe it crashed when I hit delete, or I left it on and somebody else used the computer and hit delete. I don't know, but it's blown out, okay? But I did, and why you always have to think or know you're going to make mistakes, I made one that was an overview, and I should have probably made a copy of it, but I did along the way. But it's not something I'm not going to keep forever. So I got these different tabs. It's kind of like the thing on BlockThing, so that you can have a lot of different tabs. And the whole thing, remember, is not to play Sudoku, it is to learn. Okay, now here's all the fields that were on the different tabs. So I'm going to have to place them back. But what's nice, at least during a crash, like we're experiencing now, which is not really a crash, it's just kind of like a faster descent than people like to do as the ground approaches them. Okay, so, and then these items right here are a little bit past, because then they can be on all the tabs. And then you go to this way, but at least I saved every window, because here's what I'm finding out in the world. Those are the different fields, and I can put those back in. That's not going to be a problem. And there's been a problem with some of them, so I'm not going to correct it. So it's not a big deal to sit back and look at what I have done. These are the other, all the other fields that are on there, and they're all windows. So that when I look, and this is how BlockThing kind of came about in my head, is I'm looking at one thing, I'm basically seeing the different sides of the block. I can really only look at one thing at the same time, though I can take things and formulate one block, which I'll show you how to do that next. I mean, it's just it's a way of thinking, and I'm lucky that I have two children and 3 grandchildren that allow me to experiment, or just I am just giving them time. So if your time is good with children, then give it to them. I mean, that's the best thing you can do at this point. Just give your time to children. I know your grandchildren, actually, I'm talking to grandparents, because, you know, ironically, I have more grandparents, people in the 54 to 65 year range, and I'll show you that one of these times. What I'm doing, I'm just rambling on. But anyhow, those are all the different screens. I will put them back in there and build that so that I can find things. And I will incorporate some of these things, like on Craigslist, for instance, properties. I find addresses, put the addresses in, and I can make one window. And I can put the window in here, and I can put on Google, instead of the map this time, I'll put the one window, and all the properties will come up. You know, I'm just trying to organize things more and more, and I don't mind sharing how I'm having to organize things in a form of a block. It's the simplest way. And there's the last thing I want to talk about, is that this block can be, for instance, if we all have the same view like this of a block, and this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. This is, you know, when you got to think of some of these things, you don't, the block can have off angles, and so we can have a 10-side block. I'm just trying to get you in your mindset into that point. You can have a 10-sided block, but if they all relate, then you can pass me information and I can pass you information in these manners. And ironically, all these things that I've made here can change, can be rotated, can be set up with relationships to make the blocks complete, and then even relate to other blocks. So I have a double. So I know this is not, you're probably saying, hey, some foolish Alaskan up here is trying to talk about blocks on a Saturday morning, and he figured out he didn't even have to be on cam to talk to us. Oh my God. All right. But anyhow, that's all the rambling I'm going to do. Title in here. But yeah, title doesn't change. Hey, that's just in the real estate world. Think of all the other worlds that are out there. And it's more fun than a video game than me because it's thinking. You know, the video games are then when you need the action. Those video games should be, here I am being animated, and then you can't see me. But the video games should be, um, you know, like the Wii ones that are starting to get you into the actual physical movement. And maybe you need to have some kind of a bar that can get a little magnetically a little heavier. You know, that's the next step. You don't need all that pound thing. You just need something as you push it up, there's more resistance electronically. And maybe as you're pushing it up, you're creating your own energy because it's neither, and so you're up on one side, you're creating the energy to actually push against you coming down. And those are the kind of things you start to think about when you think about a block. And that's all I have to say about that.